eating and, rolling in water.
Hi. Hi. I know, I'm a minute or two early. Anyways, hello. My name is Hannah. This is Indie Buzz Rocks, and I'm very honored today. I will be interviewing Mr. Drew Stiles, also known as JayzeussGuackamole. That is the one question I am really looking forward to asking. Hang on, they're telling our followers to join, so thank you very much. Instagram. Oh, wait. I don't even have Drew yet. Yesterday I was barely on time. Today I'm a minute early, or a couple minutes early anyways. But guess what? Take that off. Take that off. Let's just message Drew. Hey! I was just about to message you. I wasn't sure if you knew the Instagram enter thingy-mabobber. Haha, how are you? I'm going to add you. I can see you. I'm so excited. Hang on. I'm going to invite you. And I guess we'll wait and see for you to swipe the screen. And then we're going to...
I'm sideways.
There you are! Wait, should I turn sideways?
My whatever this thing is that holds the phone.
Yeah.
It doesn't work the other way. How am I going to do it? Is this cool sideways?
I can make mine sideways. Hold on.
Oh, fresh. But then everybody's seeing it sideways if they're on a phone, right?
You're backwards to me, so I got to hold on a minute. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Hannah? Thanks for having me on here.
Thank you for being here. I am so extremely honored. Oh, wait. Now you're upside down. Okay. Welcome to the world of what? How do you do this?
Where's my assistant?
I know, right? I need a bunch of minions. That is for sure. So you realize that like I spend like 4 days setting up my background, and now I have to spend another 40 hours. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Can you still see my tribute? I wanted it to give a little special God bless you to the veterans. I know it's almost Veterans Day, and we're in a lot of chaos of our times, and you know, they've done a lot for us that we don't realize. So I wanted to say God bless you and thank you. And I also wanted to say, please go check out musicistheremedy.org. Have you ever heard of it?
No, but I'll check it out.
They have an amazing system where they are bringing music to the veterans and at-risk youth. And here's their website. And they're having a little celebration today, or not today, sorry, on Veterans Day down in Long Beach, which is their main hub. So musicistheremedy.org. Check them out. Support the veterans. They support us. We need to support them, right?
Here's my flag. My Earth flag is that we're all the same.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, because elephants are all empathic and loving to each other.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Soak, and I have this pair of shorts that have a bunch of elephants on it. And I got soaked in Joshua Tree, and I was holding them out the car window to dry. And I was like, this is like Earth flag, man, elephants. Just to say we're all, the same, of the same tribe.
Yes. Yes. Well,
I was just starting to compose. I had my quill out. And I was composing a song for Indie Buzz Rocks.
Oh, you're kidding!
Yeah, I am kidding, actually. But here's what it was. It was like, how did it go? Indie Buzz Rocks on Instagram. Indie Buzz Rocks with your host, Hannah. That's the whole song.
Oh,
I'll write a better one someday. I'll write a better one.
bravo! Muchas gracias.
It's a joke, though. But anyway, how are you? How's it going, Hannah?
Thank you. That's the sweetest thing ever.
I'll write a better one. I'll write a better one.
Oh, I love that. That's perfect. How are you today?
Do people call you Hannah Banana your whole life and Hannah Fanafo Fan?
Yes, I get called Banana. Yes.
All right, so I could put that in the song.
I get called Hannah Banana. I get called Hanny. I get called Hannah Head.
Hannah Head. Why Hannah Head? I knew another Hannah named Hannah Head.
My name, I don't know. I don't know.
I know this girl in a band called Battershell, and they called her Hannah Head. That's weird.
I don't know. Maybe she knows. Oh, I can't read the things. Your friend Flytree has joined. Hi. Different, I can't read. Different poof. Different poof. Welcome. Welcome. Nice to see you. Thank you.
Poof.
Do you know, are they your friends?
I don't know who they are, no. I don't think so.
Welcome. I love the world. I love the live.
Different type of cool might be. I can't see it either, though. Plus, it's sideways now. So.
Yes. Thank you. Wow. Okay. Shall we get right into it? First of all,
whatever you'd like to hear the hostess.
Okay. So, I know we had an introductory like sideways entrance here.
That's cool.
So I want to say hi, welcome. My name is Hannah. This is Indie Buzz Rocks, and I am extremely honored today to be interviewing Mr. Drew Stiles. Wait, he's right there. In celebration of his music video release for his song Friends. And if you haven't checked it out yet, please go to his YouTube channel and do so. Would you like to watch it? Shall we get going? Here we go.
Sure.
Oh, wait. Sorry, technical issues. Where's my, oh, hang on. Here we go.
Yeah, Papa Roof. In the world, really. Ding, ding, ding. Come on, baby, sing for me, for you. Word these lovers too. For me, for you. Oh, friend, drink a big bang, drink a jug. Ching, bang, bang, ching, bang, ching, bang, bang. Sing for me, for you, 'cause you matter too. For me, for you.
That was Music Box Micro Stage. It just passed.
Cookie cutter hat. I go by gifts, gifts outside, yes, I'm the same old thing. For you, where these lovers too. For me, 'cause you matter too. For you, where these lovers too. For me, for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Janine. See you. Paula, Angela. Yeah.
For every living thing.
Yeah.
For you, the note that I always sing. For everything. For me, for you, because it's no thing.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, that's my favorite. I love it. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that part. All your friends, all their critics. Oh, Drew, beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
So, what was the inspiration? Sorry, hold on a minute. Thank you. Okay, sorry. Ha! What was the inspiration for the song and the video, Friends?
Well, the video, coincidentally or not, we happened to shoot it on National Friendship Day, which was kind of a trip.
Yes, that's right. August 7th, I believe. That's National Friendship Day.
Yeah, what a weird coincidence. It was trippy that happened.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and the inspiration was basically, I was having this big healing experience, and I share this kind of often about the elephants, you know, how I was going through, I had to have all my dental work taken out and all these surgeries done in my jaw. I was sick from dental work and heavy metals toxicity. And it took a long time to figure out that's what it was, and then I was having it all taken out. And I had to learn how to slow down, you know, after growing up on the East Coast in America, in a, you know, rushed society, in a rushed part of America. And I ended up in Switzerland, and it was like hitting a wall moving there because it's so slow and patient and secure. And I was laying on the couch one day, which was rare for me to do because I had to be so active my whole life, healing from some surgeries. And this documentary came on with these elephants, and a baby elephant was found next to its mom's body who had been killed by poachers. And the baby was taken back to this elephant farm. And it was grief-stricken, and it wouldn't hang out with the other elephants. They would take them all out to go walking and eating and, you know, rolling in water and stuff. And the baby would just stand by a bush and do nothing for a long time. I forget how long it was. To my memory, probably weeks. And finally, it started, you know, walking and then bumping into the other elephants. And slowly but surely, it just became an elephant all over again. And it struck, I was crying and crying and crying because that's what I wanted at the time. Was some other
Oh, of course. Yes.
kind of solo journey, sort of pioneering healing from stuff that a lot of people are probably sick with in the world. Lots of people have been sick with dental work and old dental work. And so the song came from the elephant didn't need, the baby elephant didn't need a doctor elephant. It didn't need an elephant diagnosed. Like nothing was wrong. It just needed to heal because all this stuff does happen in our environment. The conditions here, we get hurt and we, you know, things happen. But when we have each other, you know, you were just talking about war or referencing veterans, but we all are connected whether we know it or not. So the song came partly when I healed from all that. How cool. And the healing was like, no music had come to me for a long time because I had stopped playing music in order to try to heal. and I finally healed. There were other things too, like limiting beliefs and myths that we all sort of operated on, all fell off at the same time. Everything came out of me, and then I saw
That's
it.
deliverance.
What's that?
That's deliverance.
Yeah. And I could see that everything that had ever happened with me and with everything was all function. All the dots connected on all that stuff. I did not feel that way when all the stuff was happening.
Of course.
But then I healed and music started coming again. And it was like the first song I was flooded in goosebumps that wouldn't go away. And my whole body was goosebumps and tears were coming out and I was seeing diamonds come.
Oh.
It was like, oh my God, and music started coming. So Friend was one of the songs that came during that year of downloading songs. And Friend, the first verse goes on, friend, you're proof that everything in the world is happening for me, for you. The world needs lovers too, for me, for you, because we matter too. So it was kind of like calling out to where people who are about love, you know, some call people light workers or whatever, you know, artists or whatever it is, the people who are conducting good love energy to spread. And I think we all have the capacity to do it, but somebody like Jimi Hendrix was obviously had a higher capacity than most people to just be a conduit for this beautiful energy.
Yes.
Or John, you know, the Beatles and John Lennon.
Yes.
So the song was about two or more, and that energy amplifies when you get two or more together, like the four Beatles. You know, you get four people on the same side, and like all this love comes pouring through them as a energy, or a basketball.
We're better together, aren't we?
Yeah, it amplifies and magnifies the ability for this energy to flow through us at a higher level than one person alone, right?
So you had this moment in your, let me just clarify this. You had a moment in your life where your sicknesses, your disses and your diseases, your sicknesses, physical and mental, and took you to Switzerland?
Yeah,
where you healed. And then did you leave Switzerland when friends came to you? And this was about 3 years ago, is that correct?
Yeah, about 4 years ago.
Is it now that you use the words, you know, we matter, you know, in this time of chaos and love? It's a very poignant song. And I think that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. I like how you brought that into.
But I like to think that it's at the core of all people, that everybody has that at their core. So it's a call to that part of people, the real pure part of us that is still like a kid, you know, the little child is like trusting and loving, and kids are also wacky, but generally that's the core of what's going on inside most people, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And we all do need friends. We can't do things by ourselves. So what would you say was the top inspirational moment in creating the video? Like, how did you see? I mean, I know that it came upon National Friends Day, which was like another beautiful, you know, coinciding of everything. That's pretty special. But and also, was there a moment when you were starting to create the video itself that just where you became inspired for that movement?
Well, the inspiration was kind of simple. I love Venice, right? I did another video on Venice called Seven Wonders.
Yes, yes.
I have a third one to do. Sorry, what? You got cut off by my mic.
Sorry, you go.
Oh, okay.
Inspiration.
I have a third one that's a conceptual video that I also want to do in Venice, where my character in JayzeussGuackamole crash lands in an avocado guacat ship in the ocean off of Venice. And he gets out and he's from outer space, and nobody notices he's from outer space because everybody, you know, Venice is such an eclectic place. Oh yeah, cool. That's a drawing I did when I first healed. Yeah.
Well, wait, we're going to get to that. I just wanted everybody to see that if they hadn't. Okay, sorry. Continue. So yeah, it comes out of the space. Go back a second and then continue, please.
Yeah, so it's another one where I want I want to do it in Venice, and I want to hire the Venice Electric Bicycle Parade to be. There's a line in that song that goes, "What can you do with nothing to do?" And then there's like a space, and then it goes, and the answer is anything. Once we get off of, I have to do something, at like sort of the programmed, what we have to do, we can do anything on Earth. What's going on here isn't the only reality. Not that it's a bad reality necessarily or a good reality, but we can actually create anything with imagination, anything that we want to collectively. And so that song references that. But going back to Friend, you know, Venice was such a, when I was living in Switzerland, as Switzerland is like incredibly beautiful, and the nature there is really elegantly harmonized, and it pulled me there. And I crash landed in Switzerland in this town called Baden, this ancient healing town. And it's also very, 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 very conservative there. So when I got back, I came to LA, and the first place I went, the second day I was here, was down to the beach and to first Santa Monica and then to Venice. And it was like, the contrast was so shocking and beautiful. Like like that video was at the graffiti wall. So there's like murals everywhere, and people are dressed however they want, and they're inventing themselves, and they're dressed and acting and creating and drawing, and, you know, all the stuff going on in the boardwalk. And it was like, it was a beautiful return back to my home country. And so when the inspiration for that video was very simple. It was exactly what it is. It was for me to start walking from the Venice sculpture, which I love that Venice sculpture. I love that thing. I love Venice. You know, I love this place. Yeah, such a magic place. You know.
Yes, yes. That sculpture actually has a very interesting situation happening to it, but we can get to that later. It's an amazing sculpture. The rust, some ocean problems.
Oh, really? Huh.
But yeah, continue.
Okay, so yeah, very simply, it was what's in the video. I figured start there and then start going through those graffiti walls, and a friend would pop out every time that part of the song. And so Paula and Cameron each popped out there, the first two, and then there were a couple others, you know, Janine and Neil, and everybody else pops out holding guitars. And then we were hoping to end all together, which it did. And part of it was, I like to do things often where I have a concept or an idea fixed. There's a vision, but that it's flexible enough that real things can happen in the moment.
Sure.
So in the middle of the video, we all lay down in the sand. There's a breakdown in the middle of the video where it slows down. And I hadn't planned it, but I yelled, "Everybody lay down!" And we all did, because it just came to me at that moment. So cool things can happen in the moment too. So it was a combination of that, and the people who were in it were so cool and so beautiful and so colorfully dressed, and, you know, a lot of people pitched in. All the credits are on there.
Yes, yes.
It was a beautiful collective experience.
I wanted to get to that, actually, that point too in a second, but I wanted to jump in on the inspiration for Friends to film it in Venice, which makes perfect sense. As you said, Switzerland was very conservative, and Venice is very everybody's experimenting in their creative zones, and some people have let go of not being able to say showing their art and stuff out on the boardwalk, and you can sit and talk to those people, which, you know, is the whole point. And they then become your friends, and they are popping up out onto the boardwalk. They might be in the same boardwalk, but they pop into different zones sometimes. So you really captured the time of the times that we're in essence, without knowing it. I mean, it's quite poignant. It's beautiful. Very good. That's beautiful. And are you ready for your next question?
Sure.
Sorry, I got a little bit excited because I wanted to ask you if you wanted to give some shout outs to all the people that helped you with the video. And I know the credits are on there, but, you know, if you wanted to.
Yeah, I did just mention a few of them. And when you were playing it, but Kyle Chandler did the camera, and Paula Montando sort of acted like a producer, kind of like coordinating people. And Brian Harden was there with technical advice. And then Gary Carr was in it.
He's your guitar player?
Oh, Gary is Boardwalk OG.
Oh.
Or is it Jerry? Geroy. Jerry.
Oh, Jerry Carey. Yes.
Jerry, yeah, Jerry Carr, yeah.
Oh, yes. Shout out to everybody. Good.
Yeah, and Jerry Eladrisi was in it, and Janine.
Shout out Janine.
Isina Princessa, I think her name is. Cameron Bell's holding the bass. He's like playing bass, and he's that old boy. Pajama Ange is Angela Sfella. I hope I don't forget anybody. I think there's one more person, and I'm forgetting. Oh, Neil Nitrim, N-T-R-Y-M. Neil was awesome in the video.
Yes.
I hope there's one person I'm forgetting, but I think that's everybody.
Yay. Awesome.
Christy was
video really special and poignant for our times. And I see Christopher Hazard has joined us. Shout out, Hazard.
Hey, what's up, Christopher?
I see Megan Dunn. Shout out. Hey.
Those are great musicians, both of them.
Yeah. Firebug Music. Shout out. Hey. And I see Maderic Rabal. Shout out. Hey, how are you? That's my brother-in-law, all the way from San Francisco, I suppose. Nice to see you. Shout out from up and down the coast. Okay, are you ready for your next question?
Sure.
What is the most heart pump moment for you in the video?
A heart pump moment?
Yeah. Or, yeah.
My favorite point in the video is when it goes to, after the breakdown, it goes to black for a split second.
Yes,
And then it comes back in and it's on the 2. And it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Bad. Do it. Bad. That's the funnest part of that whole song, dynamically.
Oh, so it
But
kind
it was
of
really the whole video. I was sore the next day after that video. My legs were sore from running around.
that tonk, 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 tonk.
I tried to do it. The original concept too was like, let's just do it in one shot. Get it done just one shot and do it.
Oh.
But it was hard to coordinate that many people that quickly, and the sun was going down. We had a gig that night at Music Box.
Oh, wow. You really.
Another beautiful cameo was that I wanted it to end at another weird coincidence. I wanted it to end at the Music Box because we were playing there that night. And he would usually be set up somewhere else, as you know, right? And that night he happened to set up right where we were. That day he was there while we were doing it. So it was perfect, like right in our path where we were going, and Billy's in it doing this really cool dance.
Yeah.
Like this Music Box micro stage is one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah. He's one of those things that's popped up, that's brought friends in, brought the community together, which is, I made this for you. Yeah, friends know.
I'd have to find my glasses and look at it. Oh, there we go. It's backwards. Friends for War?
It
No,
says
friends.
friends not. I don't know why. Is this backwards?
Yeah, everything's backwards.
Sorry.
So this is yeah, everything's backwards.
Well, sorry.
It's all right. You can do it. Write it backwards next time, maybe.
What?
I'm listening.
Are you ready for your next question?
Sure. Wait, hold on. Let me get my hair ready. Okay, I'm ready for the next question.
What has been the what has been the scariest emotional time in your life, and how did you get through that?
Oh, I don't really know the scariest emotional time I've ever had. Maybe when I was sick and I got through it. What it did for me, what it forced me into, was the deepest compliance yet in my life with things like meditation, spiritual practices, reading books that would remind me of my core. I think that's the function of things like what we call sickness. I don't believe is actually sickness. I don't think it's wrong. I think it is an imbalance, but that imbalance is correct. And it's like a signaling process that tells us we're not completely in harmony. I would not have believed that when I was going through it. It felt very wrong when I was going through this and there was no answer. and I didn't think I was going to live. But that forced me to stop doing worldly stuff, you know, chasing the worldly stuff, you know, overworking and trying to lead what we call a normal life. Forced me on a down into compliance, this free anonymous stuff that we call love that permeates everything, and I think animates all of reality. Some might call it God, some might call it energy. But if you use the word love with a capital L, I like to use that word because that's what it really feels like to me. When it flows through me, like those goosebumps I was getting, that's what I feel is the stuff we call love. It's not mine, it's not yours, it's not anybody's. It'll flow through us when we're open to it. It's kind of how I see it right now. And so it forced me to keep generating that at the highest level I had to. And then once the cause of the quote sickness was gone, it was like, you know how in winter on the East Coast anyway, where I grew up, it looks like everything dies and it looks like nothing is happening, right? The earth is barren, the trees are bare, everything's bare, all the flowers are gone and everything. But all this stuff is happening under the surface so that when spring comes, it goes bling. And that was kind of like what it was for me for those years. But because I didn't know that was what was happening, at times, yeah, it was difficult. It was challenging. Then again, without challenge and difficulty, we don't develop. So, and I know now with every fiber of my being that we all choose everything. It's hard. It would be hard to see for somebody who's in suffering, but we all choose everything that happens, and the challenges that we choose develop us. Like Michael Jordan, for example, he ate challenge for breakfast. He invited challenge. He invited difficulty, and that's what made him a champion. And so I invited all that stuff and just didn't know it at the time until I healed. And then, like I said, all the dots connected, and it was like, oh.
Megan is saying, giving you a thumbs up and a amen to the deepest compliance. When you said deepest compliance.
Oh, cool.
What you're saying is your deepest compliance, but the love, allowing the love to flow through you. That's very beautiful. That's very beautiful. Yeah. Thank you. Are you ready for your next question?
I sure am.
Can you explain to us how you came up with the name JayzeussGuackamole and the logo?
Okay, I was doing
Let me get the logo out real quick so you can see it.
I was doing when I stopped playing music, I was doing construction, and this guy from South America was my assistant for a while, and he was brand new in the country. I think he was from Ecuador. And I used to say, if I was looking at like...
Oh, sorry, I just ruined that moment. Sorry.
It's okay.
There.
It's okay. We'd be working, and if it was something like, if it was 0 degrees out, you know, in New York, and I was looking up at a roof that I was about to go up on, and there were 2 feet of snow and ice, and you're covered in Carhartt gear, you know, only your eyes are exposed and would be freezing. And I would say often while working, yeah, I would say often, Jesus Christmas or Holy Guacamole, just to sort of soften some of the you know, toughness of the work. And this guy Segundo didn't really say much. And it took about maybe 6 months for him to start talking. And one day we were on a job up on a roof, and he hit his hand, and I heard him from below me say, so I've been saying Jesus Christmas and Holy Guacamole because they're expressions of not taking the Lord's name in vain. And I'm not a Christian or anything, but it was just expressions in our culture that he didn't know. And so he hit his hand and he said, JayzeussGuackamole. And I knew in that moment, you know, years before all the stuff happened and I named the band, I knew in that moment it was something. And to me, what it means is partly is that the divine is in the everyday, that what we call enlightenment is in everything all the time. It's just our perception that tells us otherwise. That thing there, I kind of drew that to say jokingly or playfully to put the cross in a new light where there's no sort of like story of sacrifice and all that stuff, or whatever the symbol means to a lot of people. I just wanted to play with the symbology of it and with the wording of it. So I changed the spelling of it to JayZeuss. So it's Jay-Z and Dr. Seuss mixed.
Ah.
So it sounds like an iconic character, JayzeussGuackamole, but when you zoom in and see the actual band, the band is made up of the 4 elements. So the star, there's a drawing on my Instagram, the star, comic book drawing. The star isn't one person, it's love or cooperation or harmony, as opposed to one person. And that's the story of JayzeussGuackamole.
That's a beautiful story. I loved that.
Like everybody, if a person believes in a Buddha or a Jesus or whoever it may have been, who we hold as the high enlightened people, first of all those people said that we have the same nature in us, whether it's Buddha nature or Christ consciousness. That's not a small thing to say. That means we are those things in our nature. It doesn't mean we get those were people who we worship. I think worshiping is weird, you know. Those were people who evolved and became enlightened. And I think in Buddha's day, if I'm not mistaken, lots of people became enlightened. Or this woman, Mary Baker Eddy, a lot of people became healers and healed when she was around. It's available to all of us all the time. And so all these people show up and they have different ways of saying the same thing or getting us to the same place. So to me, the individual doesn't matter. Those individuals don't matter as much as to be worshipped, as much as they're saying you can get here too, because you have it already inside you. The kingdom of heaven is within, etc. And who knows? I know this is offensive to Christians sometimes, but like, I don't know that Jesus was real. It could be stories created by mystics to tell us how to get to a certain. I don't know that there was one guy. There's a bunch of stories. I can be talking to you or anybody else in real time, and we can completely misunderstand each other in real time. 2,000 years of stories. I don't know what the hell is true or what isn't true.
Right. Which is why translations of any story, of any book, of any writings is very interesting. I find it very interesting myself. I wanted to jump in for a second on your logo for JayZeuss Guacamole.
That's an old drawing. That's not really a logo that I use anymore, actually.
I didn't know that. I love it though how you made, especially from California, because avocados are one of our things, and you made them look like a heart, like the seed.
Yeah.
Really love, and you know that's the focus point. And then if you have love, it gives, and you put love as your focus point right in the center, you know, and you focus and you outstretch your arms, it gives you wings.
Yeah.
And color. Exactly. And colors.
Yeah, exactly.
All the colors.
Exactly.
Very nice. Thank you.
And it's in the guacamole, so everybody has that, meaning it's even in the guacamole too. That's how.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a beautiful interpretation, Hannah.
Well, it's all you. It's all you. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful that you.
I feel bad that I spelled it wrong, but anyways, I was.
Don't feel bad because nobody knows how to spell that. That's part of the fun, though.
Typo error galore. Like I seriously typed it in so many times that it I don't know. Anyways, are you ready for your next question?
Sure.
What is, okay, there's 2 questions to this. So one is, what is the highest high lyric you've ever written? And then it goes to the opposite, what is the lowest low lyric you've ever written?
I remember the worst lyrics I ever wrote. I was in a band.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a band for a while that was signed to a major label, and I liked them, you know, and it was a pretty cool band. But it wasn't really. I was already in a band where songs. When I write songs, they show up, and then I'll sort of like, you know, the craft is sort of shaping them. But with that band, I was sitting down and trying to write songs. And I wrote one song that was like, I won't even say what it was. It was the stupidest song. And oddly enough, the band really liked it. And then we got a deal and we worked with this producer I think he's won Grammys, this guy, Jim Gaines. And we were in a major studio in Memphis spending $380,000 on an album. And that song, which I thought was the worst song that I ever wrote in my life, literally, was the song they were picking for the single.
Ooh.
I was like, oh my God, like I read a terrible song and that's what happens.
So what was the lowest low lyric in that song? Hi, Mike Rogers. Nice to see you.
I don't know if I say it. Hi, Mike Rogers. I don't know if I want to say it. There was a lyric that said, I'm not saying what it was. That song is in the past. Let me try to find the best one. I don't think I have a best one, actually.
It doesn't have to be best or anything, just like one that maybe pops into your head. Or you could do the other one. What's the highest high lyric? Something very...
I don't know. I'm trying to think of songs right now.
Okay. We can pause those questions if you want. I can come back to them.
Okay. Oh, here's one that just came to me. It's a song called Slow Cold Go. And it says, if it didn't have a reason, maybe no one wouldn't know to know. And if it didn't have a season, maybe growing wouldn't know to grow.
Ooh.
That's the lyrics that showed up.
Ooh.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice one. And that's kind of how it happens. It's more like discovering. It's just kind of, I don't even know how to describe writing songs because I don't really know how it works.
Well, you did when you said deepest compliance, as Megan so nicely put it up on there so I can remember it. Thank you. It's a beautiful moment though, right? Because that's what happens when the reason doesn't know, is what you were saying. It's time you allow yourself to grow. So if you're writing, you got to cut out the reason.
Yeah.
Very cool. I like that. Okay. Thank you. Are you ready for another question?
I sure am.
Could you please share with us an earliest childhood memory?
I found a dog when I was about 13, and he was tied up to a desk behind the school that was near my house.
Ooh.
And there was all this dog poo all over the place on a very short rope. And so he had clearly been left there, a little puppy German Shepherd. One ear was still down, like that. And so obviously I let him loose from the desk, and he followed me home, and I gave him a bath, with the hose, and gave him some food. And that dog didn't leave my side for years. He wouldn't leave with anybody. He slept on, on my bed because he found, and that dog became like my friend and protector, and he was so loyal. And I was meditating when in Switzerland, actually, in this deep compliance. And just observing the contents of the mind and how the mind works, and just observing and coming back to opening my heart when it would close and all that stuff. And I was sitting there one day, and I saw that dog I had as a kid, this German Shepherd face. And I'd wake up in the morning, after he was a puppy, when I had a different room, and he would be next to the bed with it, just looking at me. I could feel him before I'd open my eyes, just looking, and he was just waiting to do anything that I wanted to do. He would just go, what do you want to do? You want to chase a stick, eat some food, run around? What do you want to do? Like, he's that loyal, And I realized when that picture came into my head of his face, that's what the ego or our personality actually is. The ego isn't our enemy. It's just like this interface that we get to use. It's identifying it as who we are when things get tricky, or not ideal for ourselves and other people. And I realized that the ego is just this loyal, beautiful, loyal. It'll do anything that we want it to, and we have to train it as lovingly as I trained that dog.
What was your dog's name?
Duke.
Aw,
Yeah.
sweet. Hi, Duke up there.
Yeah.
Aw, he was a good guide for you. Beautiful. I love that. Are you ready for another question?
Sure.
What was the first song that you learned to sing?
The first two records I had that I remember having were Beatles, Abbey Road, and Jackson 5, ABC.
Oh, great.
And funnily enough, that song Friend and most of this new music sounds a lot like Beatles meets Jackson 5. And my dad played trumpet.
Oh.
So almost every song has a trumpet melody. It's as if I went back to my core when I healed, and all the music that came through me was that. But the song that the first song that comes to mind that I remember singing a lot as a kid was "Love Will Keep Us Together" by Captain and Tennille.
Together, now and forever.
I love that song.
Yeah, nice, nice, nice.
I don't know how it goes actually, but the part in the middle that goes na 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 na. I still love that song.
Oh, sweet. So wait, what was the first song you learned to sing? I mean, we got a couple things. I got.
It was probably the one I remember is "Love Will Keep Us Together."
Okay, so that's fun because you went from Beatles to Michael Jackson to Captain and Tennille.
Well,
Right.
I'll Be There. Another one that came to my "I'll Be There" by Jackson 5.
I'll be there.
I'll be there. Yeah.
Ooh. Well, how do you remember how old you were when you sang it and where you were when you sang these songs?
Like 4 or 5.
Wow.
On the front porch, I had this record player, and I would go out on the front porch and dance and freak out. I think my parents just wanted me to be like sort of somewhere else, because I was like bam, 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 as a kid, you know, bugging out with, especially music. When I listened to music as a kid, it was like having electricity go through me, and I couldn't not sort of freak out by music. I was really, really meant to do what I do. I think sometimes people show up here and they're really meant to do something.
Yes.
And it was clear from an early age. And I walked away from music. I didn't think I had talent in music. I didn't think I was good at it. I had no idea. When I got deals and stuff, I didn't know. I was afraid to get on stage. You know, I would get butterflies in my stomach the first gig I ever booked. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just figured out bass alone. I play guitar now, but I figured out bass, you know, playing along to people I liked. The first 2 Police records basically taught me bass. And,
Wow.
yeah, and some funkier stuff like this band APB. Anything where I could hear the bass, like The Real Me by The Who. That took like probably a month to learn that song. It's so complex. And that was a little bit later, but I didn't know I was good. I got together with 2 of my friends, and it was really powerful what we were doing, at least to us. But I didn't know if other people would like it. And we booked a gig, and every night before I went to bed, I had to keep pushing it away because my stomach would be like, you know, we get these butterflies, so I would push it away and push it away and push it away. I didn't know if I would, like, you know, fail on stage and get too nervous. And then we went up and did the first gig, and it was great. You know, it was really good. I felt like totally myself. And once I got out there and did it, it was like another level of yourself comes out, I found, performing. And then the second gig we did, there were a lot of people there. And then the third gig we did, it was packed. And I was like, I still had no idea if I was talented, all that stuff that showed up. There was no reference point. There was nobody there saying you're good at this. I didn't have a degree. I hadn't had any lessons. I just loved music. And I think that's what makes all music good, is if the person loves it. That's what, if it feels good to the person creating it, then it'll feel good, or true even, because it could be a quote negative emotion like sadness or anger. It can be any feeling, but as long as that feeling, the person's feeling that, and that's the thing about music for me, isn't like I don't sit down and compose things. It's more like I explore the depths of being, and in that there are movements waiting to happen that happen sort of through me, or I don't even know it's through or from, how it really works. But that being in the business, the movement of being alive, because we're always in this movement. Mm-hmm. And if I'm not in the movement, if I'm shut down for whatever reason and closed off, then it doesn't show up. And there are you know, pauses and writing and stuff like that where I'm just doing other things. Like, you know.
I found it interesting. You said your father played the trumpet. Did you say?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My grandfather made whale oil, which they use to lubricate, right? The wind.
Wow.
Kind of interesting, but my point wasn't that. My point was that's probably where you found music just coming from you. I mean, I'm sure your dad played while you were, you know, in your mom's belly. You know, I mean, you were grown up with music in his heart and in his songs, and that love between them, you know, was your core. So as you said, once you healed, you were allowed to be a vessel for that beauty coming through in your soul. So that's amazing. I love that. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're right. I had like this tangible, hands-on experience of my dad used to take me out of school pretty regularly to take me to New York City. We lived 15 miles from New York
Oh
City.
yeah, that was ask. Where were you born and raised? Because you said you sat on the porch, and I forgot to ask about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was born in New York City, and then we moved up to this town called Nyack, which is like 15 miles north on the Hudson River. But he worked in New York playing, and he would take me down with him, and I'd sit in bands as a little kid. He wasn't supposed to bring, there were no other kids there. You're not supposed to be sitting in the band on like a TV show or a concert or a recording session. So I'd be sitting there, and I had to be completely silent, which for a kid isn't really common. But by doing that, it taught me a lot of stuff. I didn't realize it at the time, of course, but when you have to be silent as a kid, you're picking up everything, because kids are like these little satellite dishes, and you learn stillness and you learn space instead of just noise, like running around playing with things. You learn space and silence and the depths. And I'd be sitting in these bands of like the best session players in the world in New York and absorbing. And these guys would come in and they'd be like, "Hey, motherfucker, how you doing, man? Shit, all right, hey, baby." And they'd be like smoking cigarettes and drinking and all that. And then once they'd start playing, the softest, most gentle, pure, it was like love would come pouring out of these gifted, like kind of savant type people. And I think my dad was probably a savant. And I think I sort of picked up the gift from those experiences and just being so close to him. He was a really gentle, beautiful guy, and strong, you know. So yeah, he had a huge influence, and it did come back when I healed all these trumpet. Like I think every song, none of it was conscious. I wasn't trying to write. I was just humming melodies for solos for the songs as I was writing songs, and you know, melodies would come to me, and then it was like, this is the Jackson 5 and the Beatles and my dad, basically, is music, the primary influences.
That's really beautiful. I love that. I really love that. Wait, are you ready for your next question?
Bring it on.
Unless you had, I forgot, unless you had more stories you wanted to share about being with your pops.
No, that's good.
Okay. The next question is, well, would you like to share with us 3 pieces of life advice for your listeners?
For what?
Well, for us, for your listeners. 3 pieces.
I don't think I'm the person to give anybody advice for anything. I would say I currently, after not seeing this for a lot of my life, I ascribe to these as self-evident truths. Is one, let's see, the first one would be, if I were giving myself advice or reminding myself of what I believe to be the truth, is one, I'm creating my reality. Two, nothing can come into my life that I don't want to be there. And 3, nothing can ever go wrong because we are in infinity. This is actually one moment. This moment is the same moment any of us have ever experienced. This is one moment. It doesn't make sense to the time-based rational mind, but it is what we actually are. Considering that, what can go wrong? Because we're here forever. The part of us that's perceiving everything that's happening in this 3-dimensional video game kind of thing here, that part of us that is experiencing this, doesn't go away when this spacesuit goes back into Earth. This is all Earth stuff. Like the phone that we're looking at, this is all like Earth stuff, right? That right. We are consciously we're creating, and we sort of forget, and we identify as the personality that gets created. And so knowing things, knowing that there is a relative death, in that, you know, this personality and this body goes back in, but the part of us that is really who we are can't. And that came partly from going through those years of sickness, what we call sickness. It wasn't wrong, it seemed wrong. And it ended up being very right when I healed. And what happens is when that which is temporary falls away, that which is permanent reveals. And that temporary stuff is like a lot of worldly stuff, you know, our ideas about who we are. And we pick up a lot of beliefs about all kinds of things, but they're not our beliefs. You see people killing each other over beliefs. There's another documentary I saw, right, when I was healing, and it was like two tribes in Africa. I forget the names, the Sunnis and the Tutus or something like that. And they literally, over religious beliefs of all things, went at each other with machetes. They were lopping off limbs and killing each other with machetes over beliefs that weren't even theirs, that people are born into. Or where I lived in Switzerland, you could see out the window of my apartment a castle about maybe a mile away, and it was in ruins. And I found out, I was told the story of this castle in Baden. And it turns out that these two towns, which would be like Venice and Santa Monica being at war with each other, right? These two neighboring towns, they had one group were the Catholics and the others were the Protestants. Again, two belief systems that have people hurting each other.
About religion, so yes.
It's not the religions, it's the fact that it gets organized into belief systems that then become solid. There's a saying in, I'm not a 12-step program person, but I love this one. I love that they help people transform. And I've used the steps a bunch of times in my life just to transform through that process. And there's a saying in there that says, we let go of our old ideas absolutely. And what that does kind of, to my sense, is we get a bunch of ideas. It's almost like an operating system, and there are beliefs and ideas, and it sort of gets solid like an erector set, and it's up here, and it's like, it's the solid thing that we think is all real. And it sort of gets stuck, and real life can't kind of pass through anymore. It's sort of like everything is this way, and by letting go of our old ideas, absolutely, it opens everything. And real life comes pouring through us without words, without concepts and ideas and beliefs that we put onto reality. Reality's fine. I believe that reality is completely neutral, that it'll do anything that we want it to. And that we're learning by picking up beliefs, we learn, it's almost like the paints or the brushes to create a painting, you know, a three-dimensional painting. So it's like we pick up ideas to learn that we're creating, and hopefully that falls apart. That's what a sickness can do. That's what in 12-step programs people hit a bottom or whatever. The problem is that if it gets reorganized again with new belief systems, a person gets just as wacky or sick or limited. It's any beliefs will do, and we can choose them. So I don't know if that's too long an answer for what you were.
I was concentrating. I was very much listening to it, and I think I can boil it. I boiled it down to the idea of well, there's two situations. Hi, Monk Turner. Nice to see you again. One is the restrictive versus expansive. So when you were saying holding on and letting go, whatever it is, an old thought process or a new thought process or something that is restrictive, then you aren't expanding yourself. You are confining. So that, and then the other thing was there's an old story of the monkey who sticks his hand in the jar to get the peanuts out, and he really wants the peanuts, but he can't get the peanuts out because he's holding on to all the, I mean, he can't get his hand out of the jar with the peanuts, so he has to let go of the peanuts to get his hand out the jar. So that
Right.
I was that you were saying, I think. I mean, I felt that you were, you know, holding on to that belief, meaning your own thought, meaning, you know, don't think, I don't know, feel.
Well, I would say that recognizing that the beliefs that we pick up, we didn't choose. They're just around. And then we end up thinking that they're ours, just like Protestants and Catholics or Sunnis and Tutus. So to not take it as self-judgment that a person has beliefs that don't serve him or her, that a person can choose any anew. It's not the easiest work in the world. It takes a lot of introspection, in my experience anyway, right? It takes a lot of knowing, really going under the hood of who a person really is. And again, that's what that long experience I had did for me. I was already there in a lot of ways. You know, I'd already evolved a lot.
Just the fact that you got there in the first place. I don't know how you ended up getting to Switzerland, but I mean,
I'll tell you if you want to know. It's
yes,
kind of cool.
That's a big leap to healing yourself. What I mean, it's a huge leap.
Yeah, I was so sick, and I was doing stuff that was so damaging to me on a core level that I would wake up at night from my own screaming. It hurt so bad. And I knew, and that had happened on the heels of, I had been doing the St. Francis prayer, right? I'm not a Christian, but I love that prayer, to be an instrument for love. You know, that where there is discord, let me bring harmony, etc. Where there's whatever, let me bring the spirit of love. And I knew that I had it sort of like a quality or of understanding what love is, right? Not all people grow up with a dad plan, and things got really difficult in my house too later on. It was very, very challenging after the first core years, but I had those core years, and a lot of people don't get that, right? And so I knew I had something to share, and I was doing the St. Francis prayer. Literally, Hannah, it was like, with everything I have, I really meant it, with my heart, my mind, with my soul, with my body and my being. I said, I'm available for this, right? And then I was sick all those years, and I didn't think that was an answer to that prayer, but I was being purified.
Right.
And I was crying out to, you know,
That's
to
right.
or God or whatever. I was just calling out like,
Wash.
help.
Yep.
And the answer came in, again, with music. Music has been this
I have a song. I love it.
You have what?
The help song?
Oh,
Sorry.
no, it's not that one. Yeah, that's a This one is called, it was called Mr. Wannabe Lonely. It was a little, I had done it on a cassette 4-track, this little demo.
Oh.
And I hadn't played music again. I hadn't written a song in a bunch of years, but I had these demos I had done on a cassette 4-track that I had never done anything with. And people liked them. People were telling me it's as good as Neil Young and Bob Dylan. These little things I had done, and I'm like, get out of here. So I put them up on the internet, and I started getting attention from people in Europe. You know, the internet was MySpace, right? This must have been, I don't know, 2008 or 9 or something like that. And some people were inviting me, were really liking it in like Switzerland and France and Iceland. And I had been thinking about taking down my life, you know, and just going anywhere, especially Europe, just to go play music again. I just wanted to play music again. And so I started to drop everything, and I put out this little CD of those songs. And one of the songs ended up on the radio in Switzerland. And that took me, yeah. And then I was in the Zurich Music Conference, and the song made it into like some competition. It was in the top 5 pop songs in some competition. So I was like, all right, I'll go to Switzerland. And I got there, and I had all these concerts, and I met all these musicians, and I played some gigs, and it was really, really fun. So I was like, all right, I'll go here. But then I moved there, and the reason I was sick was the root canal treatment and heavy metals toxicity. And I didn't know. And then when I moved to Switzerland, I went to a dentist just before I moved, and I had like the 7th root canal done. But and this was all meant to be, because it created a sickness that forced me into healing. So it was all meant to be.
Well, you said you had a breakdown moment. You were reaching for. So you had several sicknesses, basically. I mean, or diseases. I don't want to say discomfort.
No, it was one long one. It was one long sickness.
Right.
It was 12 years of one sickness.
But there's different chunks of things that had happened because, well, right. I see what you're saying. The teeth thing never, leaves away. Okay, got it.
Well, with thing, if you look up like lead toxicity and mercury toxicity and what the root canal treatment can do as they get old, that treatment is noteworthy because that taught me something so profound that it caused the healing, believe it or not. All this healing stuff is. So the root canal treatment, we have this idea that in the absolute, like about ourselves, about other people, about reality itself, that something's wrong with ourselves or reality or other people. There's right and wrong in the relative, right? Like it's right to drink water, it's wrong to drink gasoline.
Right.
For an automobile, it's right to drink gasoline, right? Like different things can be good and bad relative to other things. So in the relative world, things are good and bad and right and wrong. In the absolute world, those are concepts put on a reality that's beyond concepts, that exists without them, right? And so what the root canal treatment does is there's a signaling process going off and through the nerves, and it goes ding, 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 and it's a communication. And we go, that signal is bad because it's uncomfortable, and we take out the wire carrying the signal.
All right.
So that would be like if you took your car, if the engine light was going off in a car, and you take it to a mechanic and they rip out the wire because they don't understand that as a signal. And in the process with a root canal treated tooth, it also takes out all the blood vessels that are connected to the body. So what's left behind inside that tooth all dies, right? So something's dead is left in our body. Not everybody will get sick from a root canal treated tooth, right? Maybe metaphysically, we have the capacity to never get sick from anything, right? But I would challenge that. Then we would be at the level of if somebody puts a bullet in your butt, that it's not going to kill you, or in your heart, it's not going to kill you, and all that stuff. But basically, the only point I'm trying to make about this is that the pathology of what's happening is that we think there's a pathology. The only thing wrong with anything is that we've picked up the idea that there's something wrong. And even that's been right historically. But that's the healing that had to come to me, is that I had picked up this idea that something was wrong with me or other people, and so I tried, all these different places, and it would be like 12-step programs and therapy and all this other stuff. And it was like, well, it's not that. It's not my family. It's not a disease. It's not a this. It's not them. It's not the world. This one guy I went to see was like, oh, the world is all fucked up. That's why, blah, blah, blah. And everybody had these alibis for why they were hurting. And meanwhile, when we're hurting, when it's organic, not when somebody hurts another person, but when it's organic inside us, that's a signaling process. And what it's signaling is transformation or growth or love. It's signaling something good. It's signaling cooperation with the movement. Like, I guarantee that signal. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, expand yourself. Don't, right?
Yeah, and when we think the signal is wrong because it's uncomfortable, we constrict. And that causes all suffering, I believe, is resistance to the natural movement of things.
So I find that you ended up in Switzerland based on, oh, sorry, I just kicked my table, based on a music competition. One competition into which led to another, which led you into Switzerland, and then you had a get your teeth better stuck in bed situation where, then what? So you got there through music, and then you got out of there with all this glorious music that you're creating. So I find that very beautiful. That's lovely. How lovely. You were talking about an old song that said help. And I found this on your Bandcamp. It's not Bandcamp Friday, but go to Bandcamp on Friday and find somebody to support. They get all the proceeds. But do you know this song? Do you remember it?
Yeah, I haven't listened to it in years, but yeah. Lord, I need your help.
Yes.
Need your help today. I've been a junkie.
Hannah. Hannah.
Lord, I need your help today. Ooh, it seems that from your path I've strayed. Lord, I need your help today. Ooh, I just can't seem to find my way. Help today.
Yeah, I haven't heard that in years.
I found that to be exactly what kind of happened in that moment, right?
Sort of, yeah, I guess. I'd have to listen to it again.
It's beautiful.
I mean,
I don't
that
know.
song,
We kind of
nah, it's cool. I forgot that song was online because I took all my old music down. When all this new music came to me, I took everything down because all the other stuff was like sort of lost in the confusion of the human condition, going through it. Beautiful, beautiful songs, you know, meaningful little movements that came through me. But then I was like, it all, everything revealed, and I was like, I only want to present this to the world. But I think that music has a lot of value for other people, so maybe it's selfish of me not to have it out there or something.
it's beautiful to have it out there. It's a great song, and it's, you know, it means a lot. It's truthful. These are all the things that happen moment by moment, section by section, and you need help. And you know,
Yo, thank you for
beautiful.
all these awesome questions and insights and research and everything. You're doing a great job, Hannah.
Thank you.
Really.
Shout outs to Interpool joined us, and that old boy, and Utah Funk. Hey guys, nice to
What's
see you.
up, y'all?
Yeah, haven't got a chance to see you, Utah, for a while. I love seeing you online, everybody. That's lovely. Thank you for joining.
Yo.
I have a few more questions for you if you'd like.
Sure.
Oh, ah, ooh.
My answer is usual. Yeah.
um, ooh, okay, no, I'm gonna ask you this one. Can you please share with us a rock and roll moment that you experienced? Well, you kind of did share one of them, but can you share another one?
This one was a bandmate of mine. The first one that comes to mind is a bandmate where he was on stage, he had long hair, and he was chewing gum. And he's up there like, yeah, man, he's rocking his chewing gum.
Oh, don't
And a
tell
little piece of hair got caught in his gum. And he was like, what the hell's going on? And he was trying to get it to come out. While playing guitar, he kept trying to rip it out, but more and more hair was going in until he had a whole big strand of hair, a big lock of hair was in his mouth. And then he was like, and he went to spit it out, and it was just hanging in his hair, like on stage.
on stage. What did he do?
He just left it there. He had to leave it there while the rest of the song happened.
Of course. And then what happened?
That's the end of the story.
Hit his hair.
He had to cut it out later. Yeah, just an embarrassing moment on stage. Another bandmate of mine, he came out on stage with sunglasses, and he forgot he had the sunglasses on. And he thought the light guy didn't have the lights on. He was like, yo, he was yelling at the light guy. I can't see my guitar, man, in between songs. And then he realized he had like 3 songs, and he realized he had his sunglasses, and it was like, oh.
That was a doozy of a show.
Yeah.
That's
I would
great.
say one of the high points of my life was I got hired to do, my band got hired. This guy called me and he said, would you like to do a gig for wrestling? And the image I had in my mind was like a gymnasium in a high school. That's all I knew of wrestling, right? And I was like, how much is it? And he told me a number, and I said, if you give us twice that, I'll do it, which wasn't so common for me to negotiate financially.
Yeah.
I would usually sure for, you know, any money to go play music. And I asked for double, and he said yes. And then we went up to meet him, and it was the WWE. One gig was at Madison Square Garden, and one was at the Boston Fleet Center. So like, I met Mike Tyson and some other really cool people doing those gigs, which is a lot of fun. So that's a cool rock and roll moment, I guess.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah, it was fun.
Those are great. Megan was saying, oh man, about the chewing gum stuck in the hair. Because yeah, I'm like, you need a jar of peanut butter, and you got to get it out or cut it out. Poor guy.
Yeah, he cut it off.
Did he? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, those are great stories. Thank you for sharing. Okay, are you ready for your next question?
Sure.
I had to put them in order. That was why I was humming and hawing. Okay, so ready? What have you learned about people?
That most people are genuinely authentic and good, and the same on the inside. That we experience the same thoughts and feelings, and that they're not really our thoughts. They're just human condition stuff, and that most people really want to connect with other people, and that the people that we consider the most bad are probably the most hurting or the most in need of love from people who have experienced what love really is.
Beautiful. I love that. Okay, and your next question, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Second, you've got 2 questions. So the next question is, what would you like to share, what inspirations you are working on these days?
What am I working on that's inspiring me right now?
Yeah.
Well, the song Friend that just came out is taking up a lot of energy in my life right now. I'm getting some cool feedback of people listening to it on repeat, which is really cool. Yeah, you never know. You put something out, you don't know if people are going to receive it well or not. So, you know, for me, I spend a lot of my time in sort of emptiness so that songs have the space to show up. And it sort of interrupts that process to release a song and be on, you know, putting it on social media and shooting the video, being part of editing it and releasing it and all that stuff.
Yes.
But this has been just as joyous and fun to do a video with a bunch of cool people. Like Cameron is in the video, for example.
Cameron, that's your guitarist?
He's on the guy you just referenced. His name is That Old Boy.
Oh.
So, and we're gonna play, you know, soon. I just had a little gig the other day, and yeah, music. And I'm in this house right now that it used to be called the Living Lighthouse. This place here, and a bunch of people in the community want it to be reopened as a new living lighthouse, which would be a spiritual sanctuary and a place for conscious transformation. I think I've met a lot of people, and I certainly in my life wanted this to happen. I wanted to change or transform. And I think a lot of people get there where it's like their lifestyle or their identity or whatever it is, their life situation, they want to change it. And I think it would be great to have a place where people can go and live in a spiritual community and offload their old life. So instead of ending up on the boardwalk in Venice, maybe people can go on a spiritual pilgrimage and have a place where that transformation is supported.
I like that. That's one of your projects. That's called the Living Lighthouse.
The Living Lighthouse, yeah. I don't know if it'll happen. I'm certainly not in charge of it. It's just sort of organized. It seems to be orchestrating around me. All the right people keep. It seems to be. I don't know what's going to happen. Actually, I'm totally unattached to the outcome. Whatever's for the best. It's not up to me.
It sounds like a really lovely community program. I really like that. Well, we were speaking the other day, and you mentioned a couple of other projects that you were working on. Are there any of those that you would mention?
Well, the thing that I want to really the thing that I want to do more than anything, or that I have to do, is the music that came to me when I healed, there's been a lot of music since then too. I have so much music to record and release. And so I'm just starting to get into a rhythm of doing that. I have another single ready to come out probably in 3 weeks. And then there's another that. So I'm starting to get this content that's ready to consistently release. But sort of the thing, when I had that healing, it took a year for all these songs to show up, and they worked their way into one work. So a sequence started, showing itself to me, started revealing itself.
Well, it would be lovely to see how you interact with your songs and your Living Lighthouse, if that seems to be part of something that you help. A lot of your songs, like, the help we just helped today that we just played, and Friends, and those are songs that have poignant moments in them throughout the songs that, maybe some of those Living Lighthouse individuals, I don't know. I feel like that's where you're at. I mean, I feel like you're there for that.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really, really good right now, Mel. I think it took part of what I had to do over the past few years was develop myself into a strong enough person in order to carry these projects, in order to be a steward, to be a leader. I've always sort of pushed away leadership. I've always been pushed into it, but I never really liked it because you end up alone and you have to sort of like be a parent or something like that. It seemed to me, but now I'm owning it, that it's my responsibility to do it because I have the ability to do it. I can see the overview. I can always come up with solutions for everybody. So I have these qualities. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I'm a son of a bitch, like everybody else. I really can be. And I had to learn how to be. Believe it or not, I was like so nice when I was like Jimi Hendrix nice, right? And Jimi Hendrix died, or Kurt Cobain nice, and he died. And I was like, I was getting deals, and I realized I wasn't yet able to I couldn't fight, I couldn't hurt other people. If I had to fight somebody, I'd be nauseous just from hitting somebody. I'd be horribly sick from having to hurt somebody. I couldn't do it when I was younger. And then I ended up in Paris, and when I went on this trip to Europe, I got these healings that came to me. It might not sound like it to people, but it really was. That one time I was crossing the street, and out of the blue, this guy bumped into me and punched me, and without any hesitation, I hit him back and didn't feel bad. It was like the mechanism happened to protect oneself. And I didn't want to hurt this guy. But the mechanism happened, it was like the training program was over and I was given this gift from the universe. And I saw people like Miles Davis, he lived had a long career, and he was a son of a bitch. Or Charles Bukowski he could be a mother effer, and those guys lived a long time to protect that gentle core, that conduit that's inside them that was channeling all this beautiful art for people. So they had a protection, sort of. Nietzsche calls it the lion for the child. He calls it in this one thing. And I'm not a big Nietzsche guy, but it's a beautiful story, the 3 metamorphoses. And so I had to learn how to do that stuff, and slowly but surely doing, construction and being a foreman and all that stuff, and then going through this big healing and having to have fights. Another time in Paris, I was walking down the street.
Not allowed in Paris anymore. I'm just kidding.
What's that?
I'm teasing you. I said you're not allowed in Paris anymore. All these fights.
Oh, this time a gang surrounded me. They wanted my laptop and my bag.
Oh.
And they literally made a circle around me, about 7 people, and they were whispering to me in French. And I channeled this guy I used to work for, who was this big, tough Irish guy back in New York. And this guy, the slightest provocation, and he would explode. Nobody would mess with this guy because he was a nut, And I'm not saying I want to be like this guy, but when there was a gang surrounding me, I thought of that guy. And I put on this thing, boom, all this power showed up, and they left. They walked away. They just didn't want to deal with me.
Wow.
Around in circles, threatening them and freaking out. And I meant it. I was willing to die in that moment, and they felt it.
Wow.
For me. So all that training plus more, I had some legal things I had to do that I didn't want to do, but then I did. I was getting messed with by bureaucracies and legal things, and so I was like, I didn't do it. So I just fought back and I won each time. In German, I had to do this, right? These things coming at me in a foreign language. that I'd have to translate, you know, these documents and stuff. And basically what it was doing was it was training me to be strong enough to carry this stuff, these projects and these gifts that I have and these abilities that I have in order to deal with just about anything so far. And, you know, so far so good. I feel really strong and clear, and no matter what happens with other people. The other thing about being around other people in groups and stuff, in bands or marriages or any relations with anybody, no two people get along 100% of the time, I don't think, right? Like everybody has disagreements, misunderstandings. Champions know how to go through it without taking things personally. I used to take things personally and think it was bad that I was in a fight with that somebody would usually be in a fight with me. Because like I said, I get put into leadership positions because I can find solutions. And so I'm not saying I'm the most, you know, I'm perfect at this, but I studied a lot of basketball. I played basketball obsessively for a few years, and I studied a lot. And these basketball coaches, you know, they have to get a bunch of people with, you know, self-centered egos often, not all the time, but they had to get a bunch of people on the same page with a shared vision. And at times, you know, they have to sort of play like psychiatrists sometimes. If one person might require gentleness and another person might require toughness. It depends, you know, like Phil Jackson with Dennis Rodman was like a wild card. And he said, you know, Dennis is our Heyoka. He's the guy who walks backwards. So Dennis was given leniency when he wouldn't show up sometimes and go get drunk, where another player might get fined. And he had to learn how to keep all these people together on a shared vision. I'm not saying I'm him, but it was inspiring to watch these people. And I'm also not playing basketball.
No, I understand what you're saying. There's a lot of things happening, and you had to learn how to do that stuff in order to free up your space for your music to come in. So it was kind of like, unless you needed another, sort of like an octopus, you needed another set of arms to take care of those things. So the ones that was taking care of your heart stuff, which is your music stuff, could stay there. They didn't have to battle and then come back and then battle and then come back.
Right, right. Exactly. So now it's energetically, having done those things, it's in place.
Beautiful.
I don't have to keep fighting battles all the time. I can just energetically stay there, you know, protected.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Are you ready for your last question? And thank you so much. We've really been chatting up a storm here. It's been wonderful. Are you ready for your last?
Yeah, this is a great question. Sure.
You could be a superhero. What would you be and why?
A superhero.
Yes.
I didn't tell you that, but I am one. I'm Dr. JayzeussGuackamole.
Dr. JayzeussGuackamole.
My superpower is love.
Ooh.
Love heals everything and works for everything.
Nice.
Even what I was saying before about like dealing with discord and all that stuff, the alpha of alphas are people like Eckhart Tolle or Gandhi, you know, these people who are, or the Buddha, where love, when a person is totally grounded in love, nothing can really, I don't even think you can attract discord. I had this experience, somebody lent me one of those things that zaps people, it goes, bah! I forget what they're called. Yeah, the one that's like a stick. Bah! And I was like, I don't want that damn thing. And she was like, well, you know, it might come in handy around Venice and better. And I was like, all right, I'll borrow it and see what, you know, just check it out. I had it in my pocket, you know. And the next day, I was meditating at the beach on a lifeguard, one of those lifeguard things, huts or whatever they are.
Towers.
Yeah. And this guy made a beeline for me who looked like he had been up all night, maybe, you know, doing some weird stuff. And he was sort of following me around, and he said, "You're my God." And I was like, "Well, I'm not your God." And he was just a little out of his head. And then at one point, I was like, "All right, dude, have a nice day." You know, after hanging with him for about an hour, I just wanted to go not be around this dude. And he was still following. He started to take his jacket off to fight me. He was going to try to take something from me. And it's because I had that stupid thing. And I told these two stories about Paris. Those are the only two times those things have happened. I just brought those up to talk about protection. These are extremely uncommon experiences throughout my whole life. But having that weapon in my pocket attracted that guy, and so I gave it back immediately.
Oh.
And it's the same. So I don't worry about protection, or I don't attract anything like that anymore at all. And so I won't carry anything with me ever, because I don't want to bring it or even feel that way or generate it. Love does, transform anything. It's like we buy truckloads of manure, of cow manure, of actual shit, right? We pay money for shit to put it on earth because it makes things grow.
Right.
It's fertilizer for growth. And love is like the force that helps all that happen. And sometimes things that seem wrong that happen to us, the conditions around us, are really there to fertilize us to activate more love and more growth. And so, yeah, I don't know what the hell I'm saying. I hope it makes sense.
You are Jesus love guacamole. Just that's your superpower, and that you don't fight with weapons like other superheroes. You fight with love.
Yeah, I do my best. I still fall. I have had experiences that sometimes I'll be reactive sometimes, and be like, and think that something is happening that isn't happening. We all have those things in us because we've all had experiences. And the experience I had where I healed, when I healed, it was, the most incredible experience I've ever had. But I was also really burned out. Like, it was like getting to the top of a mountain, of getting to the Everest of self. And then I came down the other side. But just like a mountain climber will make it to the top, and sometimes they come back and like somebody's died on the expedition, or they need to rest for 6 months or 3, or if somebody runs a marathon, they're going to have to rest afterwards.
Right.
And mine was years. It wasn't just a month or a day or something. It was years. And so I was really, really, really burned out while having this massive sort of awakening and this download of music at the same time. And that's what I meant about those elephants. Like, I just wanted some elephants when I got back. And so doing Friend, just to tie it all back in, this is it's not just me saying, hey, I'm Mr. Love Guy and I'm sharing. It's also healing for me to have fellow human beings to share with, because or the guy who wrote the 12-step program, Bill Wilson, the 12th step is to give it back. You can't just get stuff and then hold it. And so I'm giving, but it's also healing at the same time, right? Giving is receiving, and it keeps us open.
Absolutely.
And slowly but surely, these little incremental steps. I just did a healing session before we spoke with a practitioner of something called somatic experiencing. And somatic experiencing, you tune into your own being, your own felt sense, and your own inner world, and little healing things to start to happen. And my body is crooked right now from an accident I had when I was a kid. And I still get movements from the accident once in a while where my body gets a little bit of a jolt, And slowly but surely, I'm healing and healing and healing and healing and healing and healing. It's been this beautiful, mild, acceptable gradients, getting used to the fact that I can trust everything. And I have these little signs up in my place that'll say,
you're the love truster. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, yeah, it's okay.
Hero.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. And so I'll have signs in my place that'll say just the word trust, or just the word be, or life is trustworthy, or shine, or, things like that, just to continually remind the core nature of who we are to be activated, as opposed to all the kind of like illusory stuff of the world that can make us feel like anything is out of order, or we're out of order, or we're not enough. All the common things that enter all people's minds, that they're not enough, or life isn't enough, or their life isn't enough, or there's something to be afraid of, or like I haven't seen the news in a good 12, 13 years because it would make me feel bad. And I was like, why do I watch this stupid ass show that starts off with, the music is like suspense and scary. And then they say, bad thing happened, and it's going to happen more. And that same story happens over and over again. And I'm like, I'm creating anything that I think or feel, I'm creating my reality with. We all are. So I choose to put things into me that keep me, you know, creating what I want to create. But those things, the conditions are still out there. So they will, you know, they'll peek in once in a while.
Well,
So
you're
I'm still,
good
what?
to have your love superpower. It will
Yeah.
make sure those things don't attack you. You got to clear them out, right?
Yeah, I'm not worried about them attacking me. It's just like things, they're old pathways of, I see it like this. I see it like we're born into an environment with, it's sort of like there's a thought cloud around us of beliefs that other people have believed before us. Those beliefs and ideas turn into what our society is. And so my job is to not take in anything, but I am a human being on earth, so those things will enter into my consciousness at times. And just like you said, to clear them out, I see it like weeding a garden. You know, just like, wait a minute, I don't want this here, so let me pull that weed. And I think it takes, you know, perpetual maintenance, just like a garden, or just like our physical body. Every day, you know, it goes to the the waste comes out of it, right? It urinates and sweats and poops. And just like that, our minds are meant to be continually purified too, and our hearts are meant to be continually purified.
Mm-hmm.
And so that work is the inner work that I guess when we're too focused on the outside world, you know, a lot of people perhaps don't. It's not so commonly understood that we need to do that all the time.
Well, I think you have a lot of music that's going to that expresses all of that, and I think that your love superpower will definitely shine through in tremendous ways. I look forward to seeing more of your music, and I know that your fans are going to be looking forward to it, and we all send you really good vibes. Keep going, don't stop, just keep going. Right?
Thanks, Anna. Yeah.
Right?
Yo, thank you so much, Anna. Yeah, absolutely. And you too with the show. These are really great questions. No, these are great questions. These are great questions. You're really sincere. You did a lot of work, you know, to research. So great job.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for being here with me. I know there's like, it's always so difficult to like kind of like hang up the phone. Like, no, you say goodbye first. No, you say goodbye first. It's kind of like, oh, how do you say goodbye? So we kind of just say see you later. I guess I learned that from last week. But do you have any shows coming up that you wanted that you're going to be playing at?
Not booked right now, no.
Good. So you have time to concentrate on all your songs.
Yeah, I have a lot of other work to do.
Good. And your Living Lighthouse, we look forward to that. And your superpower, your love guacamole power, keep it up. Thank you so much.
Thank you too,
I'm
Anna.
really honored. This has been a delight.
Yeah, it has. Thanks so much. Thanks for the great, thoughtful questions.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being so open and sharing.
Yeah, I'm glad to do it.
Very cool. Well, I look forward to have you back again and hearing all your next songs. So when that song is ready to release, which I won't, I know what song it is, but I won't say it. But I know you're working on some new songs. So when you're ready to release some new songs, give me a call.
All right, beautiful. Be happy to. All right, cool.
Bye.
All right, yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Go support Drew Stiles. Go see his YouTube page. Go see his Bandcamp page.
Yeah, the link is in my bio for everything. So my Instagram has that link in the bio has all the stuff that I've currently released.
Oh, good. Oh, I didn't research there. That's not good.
No, it's good. You found some other stuff, which is cool.
Oh, good.
Cool.
All right. Bye, Drew. I'll see you later.
Take care.
Have a good day. Bye.
You too.
For joining, David. I saw you joined in earlier, and Megan, yes, the glasses and then turn the lights on, man. She was saying on her.
Oh, cool.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you, everybody. Bye. Bye, Drew.
Take care, y'all. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
I think you just hang up.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. My name